Hi there, and welcome to the third installment on our tutorial on how to add validation, um, intercept form submits, do Ajax posting, and displaying data in a prettier format. Today we're going to take from our previous lessons our form and our carousel, and we're going to actually hook these two things up. Right now we have a form that will submit to Google into a new window and give us back a list of books. We want to put that list of books into here. So this is the way we're going to do this. We're going to write a definition that takes this form that we're currently using, the Google book search form. Now this form would normally is now currently posting to books.google.com through a get and displaying in a new window with a little validation. What we're going to do is we're going to intercept that submit, and we're going to do our own thing with it. The first thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to tell the definition library that we're going to need a property sheet for our new Google book search definition that we're going to be writing. So what we're going to do is we're going to find in our JavaScript library, under the definition folder, we're going to find definition, and we're going to go to the sheets. We're going to go to the end of the sheets, and we're going to add Google book search. Now here it's already done. Starting from scratch, you'll need to do that yourself. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add googlebooksearch.js to the same directory that we found definition in. So what we're going to do is we're going to start our definition here. A very basic definition, Google book search, which is also the name of the file, which is saved in the definition JavaScript library root. The Google book search is the name of our definition, and all that really is a function. You can tell by this notation. It's a function that has two properties and a method. We're going to assign that to the Google book search. Now the way this works is the definition library will load on page load, and it will go through all of its registered definitions and search for them. Now we're going to register each one of these as we load them. So on page load, it'll have a list of registered definitions, and it'll search for them by name. So this name has to be the same as this one. It will load the files automatically for you, so the file names must be the same as the variable names. The Google book search in lowercase here is because we lowercase everything. Therefore, these names, as long as this name and this name are the same, it doesn't really matter if you camel case them or lowercase them. We camel case just because it's pretty that way. The properties that we have to have, these are mandatory properties: name, class indicator, and a method called initialize. These must be there. You don't need any more, but at least these must be there. The name will be a reference point later on. The class indicator will be the class name that's assigned to the element that will get the additional methods that we're going to define down here. And the initialize happens when definition loads the list of all its registered definitions. It will fire the element that it found this class name attached to into this initialize method, and that's how we're going to apply our observers. Now let me show you what an observer is. We're just going to take our observers out of here, and we're going to put them in here. So the observers is an array of element, event, and function properties. Element defines the element that we're going to be observing, in this case, ourselves. The event is the event that we're going to be observing, in this case, the submit of the form. And the function is what we're going to do when we see this event fire. So that means we're going to need a submit method additionally to what we have. So let's go ahead and pull this submit method. So now we're going to put this here. So when our form with this class name fires off and on submit, we're going to intercept it, and we're going to run our own submit. So what we're going to do is we're going to return false if the event already has a stopped property. Now the stopped property will happen because on our validation, if our validation failed, it will set the stopped property to true, saying that we don't want to propagate this. So if we see that stop property already, we're not going to have to go any further. We'll just return false. And then we're going to force the event to stop propagating. And when we say evt.stop, all that does is it takes the event and stops bubbling from the form and throughout the document. So now we have a basic definition drawn up, and we have it doing something. We're actually going to fire a submit, and we're going to intercept it. So now what we have to do is save this file. There's one other thing that we're going to have to do. Back on our form, in order to tell our form to use this, we're going to have to put the class here. And our class, as you recall, was def Google Book Search. So now that I save this file, we're going to reload. We're going to wait for our files to reload. And then we're going to open up Firebug, and we're going to see Google Book Search. We're going to see if we actually get to this line. Let's try this. I'm going to submit. So now we actually did go through to event stopped. Okay, so that's our first step, but now we should do something with the submit rather than just stopping it. Let's go back and grab something useful. Let's take that form and actually submit it through Ajax. Okay, so here we go. So now I'm stopping the default action of the form completely, and instead of submitting the normal way directly to Google, we're going to submit to my goog.php file. Now what this is, because this is an Ajax post, it has to go to my own servers. It cannot go to Google because Ajax doesn't go across servers. So as you'll see here, and I'm not going to cover this too much, but as you'll see here, all this does is the same thing that the last one did. When we take max results, when we take the queue, we open that file in the Google servers. And this is simple PHP. We get the stream back, and we load it into an XML object. And then that parses the XML object and returns back JSON formatted object. So we'll look at that in a second. What this is going to do now is it's going to submit the Ajax request to goog.php using a get method with the parameters that we're going to find on the form. This is the form. We're going to serialize the form elements, and you can find this in the prototype API documentation. On success, if we successfully achieve our goals here, we're going to take the result and we're just going to display the response text of that result. That's as simple as we're going to do. So now, take off that comma, coming back to our page, refresh. Okay, let's make sure we have our text, and we do, and let's do a submit. And we're here. So we should have an alert box. And there it is. This is the result that we're going to get back from goog.php. That concludes the first part of this lesson. The second part, we will actually attach that content and override what's in this carousel. Until next time, this is Chris signing out.